Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Great to be back. It is so great to be back. My goodness, I'm exhausted. It feels like forever since we've done one of these. It's only been a few days, but excellent to be back with you guys. Um, I've been to Toronto since this last stream. I went to Toronto and came back with 2 blue pinkies. Look at that. I don't even have any nail polish remover to take it off. So, yeah, it was kind of a thing everybody was doing at Buffer Festival. So, I drank the Kool-Aid and got some blue nails out of it. That blue Kool-Aid turned my nails blue. If you're new here, this is a very different kind of place. This is not entertainment. This is not entertaining. We do our best to listen to callers here. We take anonymous callers for about 2 hours twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we just listen. And people are free to call as long as you remain anonymous. No names, no locations. Otherwise, I hang up. It's to protect your identity and your privacy, respect your privacy. So, lines are opening momentarily. And yeah, we'll just be here listening. And people are free to get something off their chest, confess something, use the chat and me as a sounding board, however you want to use it, so long as you remain anonymous. That's the dealio. Okay, lines are open. I'll sit here for a minute and wait for some calls to start coming in. Always great to see a few people in here ready to go. And here we go. Hello, thanks for calling.
Hi, Julian. I'm calling about, well, I have sorry, it's really hard to word this, but one of my problems that I'm having recently is some kind of relationship, trauma.
Okay.
I've been in 3 relationships, and in most of them I've been cheated on, more than twice, and it's really affecting the way I approach relationships in general now, and there's one really kind of big thing that happened in one of the relationships that really just, I don't know, it just, kind of traumatized me, and I guess I could just kind of go through the story, I guess, if you're, willing to listen.
Sure. Yeah, that's what we're here to do. Can we start with your age?
I'm 22.
22.
And yeah.
It sounds like you're dealing with some trust issues. So let's hear your story.
Yeah. So my first relationship, I was cheated on about 3 times, and it was very I don't know. The relationship was I was really young, so not really. I don't know. And we dated for about 2 years. I don't really have much to say about that besides that. And yeah, my second relationship, this was the one that was kind of really hard for me, but she was very kind of depressed and going through a lot of things and taking medication at the time. And yeah, it's really hard for me because I wasn't depressed at all, and it was just hard to understand her and relate to her. And the big thing that happened is, first she cheated on me about 3 times, and I don't know why that I keep, trusting people after that. And it's I guess I just have this problem of just expecting that people will change and get better, but yeah, I don't really know. About a year or something into our relationship, she called me one night and she told me that she was raped, and it really just, it really upset me. And it was at 12 a.m., and so I just couldn't sleep that night. And I was traveling at the time, and I had to drive home, for a few hours, and I was just, my mom was in the car too, and I was driving, and I was just, I was just yelling and just so mad, and I don't really know how to describe much else. But yeah, and we had to like switch driving because she was like, it was kind of like kind of dangerous for me to drive.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know, and it's just yeah, and so sorry, it's really hard for me to talk about this.
It's okay. Take your time. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Was the girlfriend of yours who said she was raped the same one that cheated on you 3 times? I seem to remember both. You said both of
Yeah,
these
they
people
both
cheated on you, but I can't
they
tell
have,
if you're okay. So
yeah.
did she cheat on you before? I'm trying to figure out how these are connected. I mean, these are two big things, of course, but I'm trying to figure out like how the your girlfriend's story about being raped affected the relationship. Um,
Mm.
I'm trying to follow the pattern of what you're saying, and
Yeah,
and everything must be related. So I'm trying to figure out like what was the order of events. Like, were you cheated on, and then you kept trusting her, hoping that she'd change, and then she was molested, and surely that's not the end of the story. So what's next?
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, she did cheat on me before I was before she was molested, and that caused a lot of trust issues for me. To whether I should believe her or not,
Right.
and I ended up just believing her because that's what you should do. If someone claims that. And yeah, when she was raped, she was there with a friend, like, and she was too. And yeah, and it just, yeah, I decided to just be there for her and to just not the friend that she was with, sorry, my girlfriend at the time, and just um, so we did it for about like another 6 months after that, and eventually she broke up with me for some reason, and I find out like after she broke up with me that she got back together with the person who raped her, and she told me um, that it wasn't rape and that it was all consensual, and he was, I don't know, and it was just the most confusing thing to me. And at the time, I was still kind of recovering from the relationship. So yeah, that was really difficult. Um, and about 2 years after that, I just kind of had to deal with not knowing. The friend that was there with her, who was also molested, reached out to me and kind of gave me her side of the story because she ghosted everyone. After all of that happened, she just wanted the distance from everything and not deal with it. And she basically confirmed to me that it was actually rape, and I don't even know what to believe at this point. And it doesn't even matter to me anymore. I don't even talk to any of them. So it's like, but I guess it's just, I don't know, just really played with my head.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll mess with your head. Um, so sounds like you are. Uh, sounds like there's two big things. It sounds like you wanted to get that off your chest and kind of process that out loud, and then also feels like you're dealing with some frustration around being attracted to negative partners or partners you can't trust or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm really kind of like the past few years I've been single for like 3 or 4 years, um, but it's been very difficult for me to want to trust someone like that again,
Mm-hmm.
because I just don't, I guess. I don't know. And there was a lot of other like things that happened in the relationship too that were just, and I don't want to pretend like I'm the perfect person who is just like, you know, didn't do anything wrong in a relationship. Like there's definitely things that I did wrong, but I don't know. And it's hard to like view myself as, I don't know, when someone cheats on you like that and just kind of, I don't know, and all this happens and it's just, you don't know what to believe. You just start to kind of think like maybe that I'm not good enough or something. And like the thing is, it's like I know the facts. Like I know that I didn't do anything wrong to like deserve any of that. Like I understand that completely. But it's like I can't help but like feel like, I don't know, it's like just preventing me from doing things. I don't know. It's like I'm doing things as in like moving forward kind of romantically and like being willing to, I don't know, be in a relationship again.
Did you feel dishonesty from both of these people? I mean, they both cheated, so there's at least some promiscuity that both your partners have had or engaged with. But would you call them both dishonest? Would you say, was that part of it, or was it, what was it?
Like, yeah, the thing is, it's like they were pretty honest people, and like outside of, you know, all of that, we had like I feel like a pretty strong relationship, and I just don't really understand, you know, but really that's not like what bothers me. Like it's really not like I'm kind of over the relationship. It's more of like now I have to like, it's more of like sorry, I'm kind of throwing around the words so much, but like rape, that kind of, it's kind of like I mean, I don't know what you call it. I guess like a trigger, like even in like, you know, films or anything, or it's like just some kind of concept of rape or molestation. It's like, it's just, I have to like walk out of the room. Like it's, I don't know. And yeah, that's more of the thing that it's like, you know, that it's kind of caused this. There's one more thing. I had like kind of a third girlfriend, you know, like kind of, because I say kind of because I was kind of struggling to like, well, at the time, like I was very hesitant because of my like religious values, and she didn't share that. Now I've kind of let go of those values. But we kind of, it was like a weird date thing. But during that time, she was raped too, and it's like, and I believe her. That's the thing. But it's like, it was the first thing that came to my head was like, you know, what if this is just another one of those things where like she's just trying to cover up the fact that she cheated or something? And I don't know. I don't know. And I'm just afraid that I'm just not able to like trust anyone anymore. Yeah, I don't know. So I guess really what I'm calling about is just like, how do you deal with like confusion and like frustration with like relationships and getting over that and just being willing to trust someone like that again?
Yeah, I can tell in your voice these experiences have shaken you, and I hear the questioning tone in your voice in everything you say. Not that everything you're saying is a question, but that I can hear there's a lot of uncertainty in your voice. There's a lot of confusion, and you will heal from that. It's going to take time, especially if you just got out of 3 relationships where this basically 3 very similar things happened. Like it seems like you're attracted to certain types of people, and I can't say I don't know why. I don't know you. I don't know why that would be, or what kind of person that is that you're attracted to. But it does sound like you might be getting attracted to unhealthy people. You know, if there's dishonesty happening in all of your relationships, if there's deceit happening, and you're confused. I mean, often Dr. Ramani Durvasula talks a lot about feeling very confused after breaking up with a psychopath. Now, I can't diagnose anyone. I don't even know never even met your girlfriend. So even if I could diagnose her, I don't know this person. So I'm not trying to diagnose anybody here, but I hear the voice of somebody who's very confused. You told us you were confused, and I hear that in your voice. And it makes me at least wonder if that's possible, that maybe you're attracted to some type of psychopath. And I wonder what that sounds like to you when I say that. Yeah, we'll start there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very kind of logical thinker, so it doesn't really like bother me that you say that. It's more of like, I've never heard that before, and it's, I'm interested to hear more about that. So I guess that's a possible thing, because I've talked to this with like, people, but I get very different answers, and I've never heard someone say something like that. So I guess I'd like to. Who was that person that you were talking about? Who talked about?
Do you know? Yeah, do you know the work of Dr. Ramani Durvasula?
I don't. I'm not really much of a reader.
Let me. Well, you're about to be a reader. We're gonna make one out of you. Let's start with a great book that I have read. It's meant a lot. This book has meant a lot to me at different times of my life. It's called "Should I Stay or Should I Go?" I'm gonna put this in the chat for you. Should I stay or should I go? Ramani Durvasula. Dr. Ramani is amazing. She's also got a YouTube channel. She's got like over 1 million subscribers, and she's a PhD psychologist, which is a feat in and of itself. She's amazing. She's funny. She's smart. She's done arguably more work than anyone on the planet that I know of, at least, on understanding narcissism, narcissistic personality disorder, that is. I'm putting this in the chat for you. Should I stay or should I go? And her book is awesome, but her YouTube channel is also a great resource. I wouldn't not read this book. If you're not a good reader, just get the audiobook. It's a decent audiobook. If you can read it, read it. That's always better to read it something. But if you can't stomach it, just listen to the audiobook. There's a decent one. And then her YouTube channel is obviously completely free. There's a bunch of great information on there where she goes and she has specific videos dedicated to things like one that I think might be helpful for you to take note of. I don't have the link in front of me. It might take me too long to find it, but maybe you can take a note of what I'm about to say here. There's a YouTube episode she has called Spotting Red Flags, I think it's called, or Identifying Red Flags. And it's on her YouTube channel. And it basically talks about, like, when you're meeting, I mean, narcissists are everywhere. Psychopaths are everywhere. So she has a video breaking down how to spot one with reasonable certainty. Us average Joes, we can't just diagnose people, but she does her best to lay out a case for, like, things to just beware of when you're dealing with people, patterns, ways of talking, word choices that people make, things like this, that can all be helpful in spotting a narcissist, especially if you're if you feel like you might be dating one. So if you can find that video, that's an amazing video. Like I said, I don't have the link for it. But yeah, Offcore's one of our mods. He had a good question earlier. Where was it? He said, "Is there a common theme in these relationships? Have your exes chased you, or are you being chosen?" Yeah. Are you? I really butchered the reading of that because I have no idea why. But are you being chased? Are you being pursued? Are you pursuing? There's no right or wrong answer. But the point is, like, if you're being, I think what Offcore is getting at, and it's a good point, is that if you're being, like, relentlessly pursued by someone, if someone is, like, coming after you and like hunting you down for a dating relationship, that could be a red flag. Sorry, Offcore, if I'm misunderstanding the point, but that's what I took from that. And reading "Should I Stay or Should I Go" is a great place to begin in spotting things like that. Can you identify a pattern like that? That have these three girls, have they hunted you down and, like, kind of cornered you into a relationship, or I mean, what was that like?
So the last relationship I had, the one that I was kind of hesitant about, that one was very much like that's why it broke up. Like, I was the one who ended it. She was just a very manipulative person, and it took a while, but after talking to friends and everything, I was able to, eventually end it. The second relationship, sorry, I'm going backwards, I don't know why. That one was very, I think it was pretty mutual at first, but toward the end, it just felt like she was just kind of holding on for, like, no reason. I mean, I was kind of doing the same thing, really. But after we, ended it, she kept contacting me and kept, to this day, she actually still tries to contact me, and I eventually, like, just told her I'm done, and I blocked her everywhere and everything, and I don't know. And yeah, I mean, I guess maybe there's kind of a theme with that. Definitely not with the first relationship. It was definitely both of us. It was pretty healthy, I think. It's just the cheating thing that was kind of strange. So yeah, I guess maybe there's a theme between the last two. I say the first one is pretty healthy, but there was some stuff that was bad in it. But I mean, definitely healthier than the last two, I feel. Even though the very last one, sorry, I need to be more specific about this, but the third one, there was no cheating at all. It was just manipulation and, yeah, a lot of pursuing.
What kind of manipulation?
Well, I mean, so at the time, I was religious and she was not. And I've always been told not to date people if they're not in the same, belief system like that. And I was just so hesitant, and it's like, you can't really blame me. That's kind of the way I was raised. I mean, I'm not that way anymore. I kind of strayed off from that, but yeah, she kept kind of pressuring me to, relationship, and yeah, it was weird, and eventually I kind of gave in, but it was just not normal. There was a lot of manipulation and it was just bad. And I think I was really trying my hardest in that, and I'm sure I messed up somewhere, but I really did my best to just not have anything that I do wrong, so there's nothing to blame me for. I don't know.
Not doing anything wrong is a tall order. That's a really tall order.
Yeah. It should not be that way.
But I hear what you're saying. It sounds like you were walking on eggshells. That's another red flag of dealing with a narcissist or a psychopath in general. If you feel you're walking on eggshells constantly, that's a major red flag. That's one of the red flags Dr. Ramani talks a lot about. There's a second book I'm going to mention. I usually mention this book alongside Should I Stay or Should I Go? This is an excellent follow-up book. Should you get to the end of Should I Stay or Should I Go and want something else to read on the topic, this is a book, another book I've read that is amazing. I would not read it first, but if you, like I said, if you get through Should I Stay or Should I Go and want more, there's a book called Psychopath Free. I'm putting the link in the chat for you, so you don't have to look it up. Give me just 1 second. But this book breaks down all the different psychopathies, so not just narcissism, all of them. So you can have a clearer picture of like what an actual psychopath is. Because Should I Stay or Should I Go is really just about narcissistic personality disorder. So all those links are in the chat for you, including a link to Dr. Ramani's YouTube channel. I just want to be really clear again, since we're talking about narcissism, and I'm not a psychologist, that I am not a psychologist, and I cannot diagnose anybody, nor could I even do it here on this stream if I were a psychologist. So I'm just here talking to you as a friend. I'm just listening, and these are books I've told my friends about. A couple of these books that I talk about on the show are books my friends told me about. So that's how conversation works. And so I'm just to be very clear, I'm not telling you that you are attracted to narcissists or something like that. I'm just saying you asked, and that might be. You said you were confused. You said you didn't say walking on eggshells, but you described walking on eggshells. You described feeling manipulated. And these are three major tells of dealing with somebody who does not care about you. And that's what psychopathy ultimately is. It's somebody who has no empathy, who cannot have empathy. Their brain that part of their brain isn't activated. It's actually a tragedy. A lot of people like to rag on psychopaths, and it's really it's unfortunate and it's tragic because these people suffer from something that they can't get better from. Most of them can't get better from it. If you're a psychopath, you're born with it. So it's really unfortunate and tragic. So I do my best to not rag on the psychopaths because they're out there, they're everywhere. Some estimates put it as high as 15% of the population. So if that's true, then 1 in 7 people we meet every day is some kind of psychopath, which is quite a few people. So, I'm just telling you stuff that has helped me, and I hope it helps you. Of course, I don't know you. I don't know exactly what it feels like in your shoes, but I hear the confusion. Just know that this stuff takes time. You're young. You are at the age. You're at the appropriate age to be learning lessons like this, to be learning the kinds of people that are good for you, the kinds of people who are not good for you, and that stuff is just going to take time. So do your best to keep your head up, stay confident. I want to hear some good things about you. You've told us a lot of the negative stuff. I don't want to get too heavy on the negative stuff. Tell me some good things that you contribute to a relationship. Why would somebody say you're a valuable partner? And let's not count the 3 partners that were not good to you. Let's say, what would your ideal partner say is valuable about you in a relationship?
I've never given this thought before, so it's kind of, putting me on the spot. But I guess, I don't know. I'm really struggling to think of something. Just give me a minute. But
it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Just what do you think you're good at?
I guess I'm just really committed to people. That's kind of one thing that I'm really good at. Even if there's a problem, I try to just do the best to work it out. I don't really. I guess you can kind of see from the history of my dating. They're all the years are it's 2 years long usually for these relationships. There's never really a quick relationship, and that's partially because I just keep going. So yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't want to put you on the spot. You don't have to. I do hear in your voice you're very loyal. I believe that. You'd have to be to stick through multiple partners who cheated on you. That shows a lot of loyalty and commitment. Of course, some people cheat. People make mistakes. Some people cheat and they're not psychopaths. Some people cheat and they come clean about it and they apologize and they're like, it was horrible. I'm not going to do that again. And things get better. And in that case, it pays off to be the kind of person you are that's that committed and loyal. But a narcissist seeks out, not even just narcissists, psychopaths in general. And again, I'm just reporting Dr. Ramani's work here and other psychologists. This isn't my own work I'm claiming here, but psychopaths will seek out empaths or people who are very loyal, who have a bottomless pit of love to give, because they know it's an infinite source of narcissistic supply. And that's why they do it. So, in other words, your job is to find a partner that feels equal, that feels like there's an actual homeostasis, a partner who doesn't make you feel like you're giving too much, you're doing all the giving, they're doing all the taking, and to move really slowly with it until you feel good about going to the next stage in the relationship where you're giving more.
Yeah.
And that begins on the very first date. So I don't know if that's helpful to hear, but just take your time and be good to yourself. Maybe make a list of things that you want your next partner to identify as valuable about you. And then keep it in your back pocket on a first date. Every first date you go on, keep it on your phone. And at the end of the day, pull out your phone and ask yourself, were any of these validated on any way, or were any of these apparently visible in any way, or something like that? Like the lists of those kinds can be held, and it doesn't just have to be about you. You can make a separate one for red flag things that would be red flags to you based on your current experience, your past experience with bad relationships. Maybe you make a no-go list of traits or behaviors, things that you just won't tolerate, and that you will break up. You'll do the breaking up if X, Y, or Z happens, and just make some commitments to yourself in some kind of list. A commitment for a commitment for yourself to make, of what kind of person you're going to be, and how you want to feel valuable in the relationship, and a list for the other person. I feel like that might be a really good idea for you. Maybe not, but take it for what it's worth.
Interesting take. Yeah, I think that's really good advice. I'm gonna definitely look into that. I think just taking notes of things like that, like, because you just kind of put me on the spot earlier about like noticing something I feel validated about, and it's really hard for me to think about that because I don't, and it's like I think giving that more thought is definitely a good idea.
So Miss Truther, Truth Thunder. I can't read that. Sorry to whoever you are in the chat. It's too small on my screen here. They're saying to you, caller, you have a set of skills and beliefs that are completely unique to you. It can be hard to recognize those when you have a shield of self-deprecating beliefs. It's good to know your value. I think that's excellent note to end on. Thank you for that, Mr. Thunder.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you calling and using this place. I hope those books are valuable to you. They certainly have been for me. And I want to invite you to call again anytime. If you need to call and process something else or give us a good update, hopefully, you can call again anytime.
Thanks, Julian. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care. Wow. All right, guys. Chat lines are opening. I'm going to pour some more agua. I've been doing sparkling water in this thing lately. I got my own CO2 tank, and I just pump it full of CO2. It's pretty awesome. Sparkling lemon lime water. No more LaCroix for this guy. Got real lemons and limes in here. Delicious. To the last caller, Atris Oranus, I think they pronounce it Atris Oranus or Atris. I don't know. That's actually a video game character, I think. They're saying to you, regardless, a good thought, that Jess from How to ADHD, which I believe is a YouTube channel, has a thing about dealing with your wall of awful, and it might be a good resource. So to the last caller, if you're still listening, you might check out that resource. I believe it's a YouTube channel, but I'm not positive. Okay, lines are open. Sometimes we have a little bit of a delay here while we wait. It's no problem. We're just chilling. I have not been able to get this keyboard set up. I promised I would get it set up for moments like these, but last time I plugged it in, it freaked out all the audio on this stream. And so I've been terrified to try again. But it needs to happen, because this would be a great little time for a little doodle break. And I need some practice, because I'm rusty as some old nails on the keyboard here, so make a fool of myself on a live stream. I'll take this moment to announce that there is a video dropping soon that is it will be somewhat eventful. So keep your eyes peeled for that within the next 7 days. Hello, thanks for calling.
Well, hi, Julian. How's it going?
Hello. I'm all right. How are you tonight?
Well, I've had better days. I am currently going through a health concern, and none of my family really seems to think it's that serious, but I am freaking out about it, and I wanted to, get an outside opinion on it right now.
Okay. How old are you?
I am 23.
Okay. And the family's not taking you seriously, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just had, I don't know, I've never experienced anything like this, and maybe I'm wrong, but I've had just unrelenting, just what feels like acid reflux for over 48 hours now. And nothing seems to, get it better, like at all. And I've told my family, I've voiced my concerns, like I've done an enormous amount of just Googling and just, I don't know, I'm very like paranoid about like this specific thing. And it's gotten, I don't know, it's so bad to the point where I can't like enjoy anything. Like it's always lingering. I'm always like thinking about it. Like it's not something that I can ignore.
It's been going on for 48 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. And what does your family say? You're asking them for help, or are you living with them? Or you're 23. You know.
I'm living with them. They're upstairs right now, but they're saying that it's not abnormal for acid reflux to last this long, and it could last a while, and then I'll just have to deal with it. And I kind of feel invalidated in like how I'm feeling. I feel like it's more serious than they are making it out to be, and it feels. I've never experienced. I mean, I've had acid reflux before, but it's always just gone away. And like normal acid reflux, I don't know. I haven't really had a problem with it, but this is completely different. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I fear that like I'm having either like a more serious gastro issue, or if it's like a cardiac issue, or maybe I'm just in my head about it. I have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't know what that could be, but I know I'm not. But I feel the need to reiterate that every now and then. Only you know what that feels like. It sounds really uncomfortable. I guess you're trying to get your family to take you to the doctor or something. Is that the deal?
I guess, but like, I mean, I don't really want to go to the emergency room about it, but I mean, I made a bunch of appointments today with like a gastroenterologist or whatever, and a cardiac doctor, just because I was worrying about it. So I set those up, and those aren't for like another week or another month. So I don't know. I'm kind of worried about it in this moment.
What about urgent care? Urgent care is cheaper and faster than the emergency room.
Yeah.
Maybe you could get an answer at urgent care.
Yeah, I was maybe thinking about doing that tomorrow. I'm pretty sure everything's closed at this point.
So what's the issue? Are you trying to figure out how to talk to your family about it in a way they'll listen, or what's the deal?
I mean, yeah, I just kind of want an outside opinion. I'll keep this brief because I know, like, it's very subjective to my own experience and whatever, but I just wanted to know if I obviously, like, you're not a doctor or whatever, but I just wanted to more aggressively, or that I have nothing really to worry about. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think only you would know the answer to that question. Or,
right.
you know, because I'm not in your body, I don't know. I mean, if I feel bad enough, I just go get some care. I go to urgent care or something like that. But I can't tell you what to do, and I won't. But you might try starting with your family if you're trying to get them to help you in some way. I can't figure out if that's part of the problem, but you might just sit them down and say, like, what's that?
I'm sorry. This is probably a strange call.
No, it's okay. People call for whatever reason. You know, you might just try telling your family, like, look, I know I've been barking about this the last couple days, and you're just telling me to chill out, but I'm telling you this is different, and I feel really invalidated.
Yeah, they told me to take anxiety medication.
Interesting response.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the only thing they told me. They told me other stuff and tried to reassure me that just acid reflux. But like, because like I'm worrying about it so much, they're saying like that maybe I should take anxiety medication to get my mind off of it. But I'm saying like it feels like I don't know, like bad enough to where I can't really ignore it, and I don't think anxiety medication is gonna like help me just like, you know, stop worrying about it. Like I don't think it's bad because I'm worrying about it. I think it's I'm worried about it because it's bad, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry to hear you're in so much discomfort. I wish there was something I could do for you. I wish I knew what the answer was.
No, I understand. I appreciate that. I guess I just wanted an outside opinion.
Yeah, I mean, my outside opinion would be if it feels really bad, go get it checked out.
Yeah, I plan to tomorrow. I mean, I'm gonna schedule it with my primary tomorrow, but
Good.
You know, my fear is that it's just I'm not going to be able to get an appointment for quite a while, and you know, things might happen before then. But I mean, maybe I'm just not. Maybe I'm just wrong in that thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't overthink it. If it hurts, go get it checked out.
Yeah.
I think it's good that you've got some appointments set up.
Yeah.
I'm wishing you the best. I hope it doesn't turn into something bigger. It seems, if it's acid reflux, like I know that's really uncomfortable. I've had that before, but I'm not aware of anything major that could be linked to. I'm hoping it's nothing crazy. Of course, you can call back anytime if this becomes something bigger and you just need a vent or get a listening ear or whatever. Lines are always open to you.
Right. I appreciate you, Julian.
Thanks so much for calling. Take care. Good luck.
Yeah. You too. Bye.
Yeah, I have a hard time on calls where people are looking for something medical because I don't want to weigh in onto things people should be taking or doing. Or this isn't the Joe Rogan show, guys. That was a joke. I'm pretty sure he doesn't prescribe things either, but I couldn't resist that one. Okay, guys, lines are opening again. Hello, thanks for calling.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you tonight?
I'm doing all right. I was just calling, I called a few months ago. It's been probably about 4 or 5 months. I said I'd call back with an update, and I just haven't really, I guess, had a good time to do it. But I called a while back. My wife, her ex-husband, he got caught with a bunch of child pornography less than a year after her stepdad was caught. with soliciting a minor. At the time, we had moved in with my mom, so her ex didn't know where we were living.
I remember this call. I remember you.
Yeah, it was a while back, but
how are you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing well. I mean, it's been hectic, and we keep kind of getting hit with stuff kind of left and right. We're doing a lot better. We ended up renting out a place where we have our own place now, where we're not kind of intruding on other people, and we kind of have our own space to, be a family. My wife is right now attempting to get a better job. We're trying to save up the money and save up and get the resources in order to get custody completely taken away from him, and try to see if we can't get his rights signed over to me. The last thing I think I told you was we didn't know anything about when he was getting, charged. We didn't know anything about when he was getting prosecuted or arrested. About 2 months ago, we got a call from CPS. They basically told us that our part of the investigation was done, and that they couldn't really give us any other information because, they're done investigating with us and done checking in with us. Kind of told us to make sure he kind of stays away besides court-appointed meetings. We were able to get it set up to where he can only have supervised visitations by someone from the state at a very specific building, and he has to schedule ahead of time, and he has to pay for the visits. His mom was calling and texting my wife because kind of the restraining order, I guess she felt like the loophole was if she contacted us instead of him. But he's about a year and a half behind on child support, and she was saying, very mean things to my wife and telling her, hey, if this is about the money, this is a terrible reason to keep him away from his children, and, if this is about the money, we can come up with the money if that's what it takes for us to see them again and all this stuff. And my wife let her, finally, after a lot of deliberation and a lot of convincing, I finally convinced her just to message his mom, I would rather you not contact me anymore. If you have any questions, you can contact our attorney, and our attorney will give you as much information as she can. And then after that, we haven't really heard from his parents or him.
Okay, but he's still got some custody of the kids, it sounds like.
Yeah, so that's our current goal, is we're trying to save up the money. We're trying to get the resources,
right, so
that we can, get custody away from him and also get his rights signed over. We've kind of been contacting our attorney and talking to her about the best course of action. She said we can go ahead and try to get him to sign over his rights because it'll be appealing for him because he will no longer have to pay child support. And he will no longer be going into debt on that child support. Because as of right now, he's so far behind on child support that if he gets a full-time job, they'll be garnishing his wages, and he'll basically be getting nothing from the work anyway. So he's no longer working, he's just living with his parents to avoid that.
My goodness. What a situation.
Yeah, our attorney says he might sign over his rights because of that. She said, but it's kind of a, shot in the dark because he can either sign over his rights so he can get away from that debt, or he can not care about the debt and decide that he doesn't want to sign away his rights. We would, at that point, have to wait until he's actually arrested and try to petition, I think she said something like petition the court in order for them to forcefully take his rights. after he's been, fully convicted and everything. Which, if it's anything like her stepdad, he just now had a hearing within the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it happened, I think, maybe almost a year and a half ago. It could be a very long wait on that. So it's just kind of been very stressful on that part. And I did finally kind of open up to my friends a little bit more about it. And last time we spoke, I had said that, I hadn't really been talking to anyone because I felt like it was kind of being a burden on other people. I kind of finally opened up to one of my friends and kind of explained to him, hey, when I talk about these things, it really feels like y'all just kind of disregard what I'm saying. And I told him, I need someone to talk to about this stuff and to vent to, and I need someone that will be there for me. And I hope this is no offense to you at all, but I even told him, like, yeah, I got to the point where I called, Anonymous Live, in order just to vent to
That's a pretty low place to be.
So,
that's a joke. Anybody can call for any reason. Not everybody's in horrible shape. But you're going through a lot.
I know I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you were able to share your story with us here. That last call, I remember that call. I seem to remember, if I can remember, I'm going to pull something out that I remember from that call, and I might be wrong, but I seem to remember you saying that this guy, the dad, who seems to be a pedophile, is not that big of a guy, and that he used to mess with your wife before she got with you, and that you're a bigger guy, and he stopped messing with her once you came in the picture. Is that right?
Yes, and it's actually kind of funny because, I say kind of funny, but so I used to go to a particular bar with my buddies. We had been going to that specific bar since we were 21. It was kind of like our place to just go and hang out. Well, He actually goes to that bar as well. And one of my buddies the other day kind of asked, hey, why don't you ever go to that bar anymore with us? And I explained, hey, you will, he goes there, and I just, don't want to be in that situation. And my buddy was like, well, if he's intimidated by you, then why does it matter? He's probably not going to do anything, and he's probably just going to kind of leave you alone. I was like, yeah, but on the opposite side of that, if he does decide to do something and, I kind of retaliate, then he can use that later on if we're in court, or if he decides to press charges and kind of, go as far as he can with it, then that can really ruin a lot of stuff. So, I'd rather just not be in that situation. And that's one of the more frustrating parts of it, is because not only has he taken a lot away from, my wife's life and a lot from my children's lives, but now he's even, kind of taken away my time with my friends. And, it sounds kind of, lame complaining I don't get to go to a bar anymore, but then that was kind of, we had been going there for years, and it was just kind of our spot to kind of hang out and not have to worry about other stuff. And so I'm having to worry about all this stuff, and I can't go to the place that I typically would go to kind of have somewhere not to worry about things.
Right. I think that you're very smart for living above reproach in that way by avoiding the bar that this guy goes to. I think that's really smart of you. And I was hopeful for a bit more of an update when I heard where we were I heard you picking up from where we left off last time, but of course these things take time, so that makes sense. What are some of the best things that have come out of this time? I know you listed a bunch of things earlier, but what would you say are the best couple developments in the last few months since we spoke?
So one of the big kind of stress reliefs was when we finally got it to where he no longer could see them without, going to a court-appointed area or building and paying for it and all that. And also, if he does end up, for some reason, out of the blue, deciding he wants to see them, if he goes there,
legally he cannot talk about me, my wife, her family, or my family. And so that's nice, knowing we have that kind of legal backup in case he ever does. Because before, it was kind of, it made us nervous that we had no sort of legal backing. Like if he decided to just show up, I mean, we had to give them over to him. And, luckily that never happened. Luckily we were able to get, the supervised visits and stuff, which we spoke with, because the actual court date for that, we all showed up. We were all there, ready, waiting. It was at 10 o'clock is when we were supposed to be there. We got there at 9:30. 9:45 came by, he still wasn't there. 10 o'clock came by, he still wasn't there. 10:15, still wasn't. 10:30, still wasn't. 10:45, finally the judge said, we're going for y'all. Like y'all are, winning this. The court's going in your favor. You're winning this. He now has to have, supervised visits. Then when we were talking to our attorney, because we were kind of surprised, we thought he would go just to be petty, if nothing else. We were speaking with our attorney, and she said, she goes, he probably got legal advice. She goes, because that was a very smart move. We asked her, well, why was that a smart move? She's like, well, because if he did go and they brought up the pending charges on him or the, investigation, he would either have to perjure himself by saying it's not true, or he would have to confess and say it is true. But really, there was no win for him in that situation if he were to have gone.
That makes sense.
So she said it was very smart of him on his side not to go, but it kind of sucks on our part because now we don't have that kind of forceful one or the other.
Right. Goodness gracious. Well, I'm glad that there's a couple of silver linings developing here. I'm sure you guys are very eager to get to that finish line. Legal stuff is taking forever since the pandemic. It takes forever anyways without these things. So I can tell you're being very patient. You're doing the work.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the big bonuses to this is, before we were living on a very small property in a very small house, I guess you could call it. And we lived literally, like, our front door faced my wife's mom's front door. Her grandma was right behind us, and her aunt was right next door to us. So we were literally surrounded by family, which was nice most of the time. But any family drama, we got kind of dragged into it, and I was the only, able-bodied man, I guess you'd say, that lived out there. Because, like I said, her stepdad was arrested, and her uncle didn't really know how to do anything, mechanically. And so I was really the only fix stuff. So anytime they needed anything, the person that they kind of relied on for that. And it got very stressful at times where, I'm at work and I'm getting calls and texts saying, hey, the water line busted again. We need someone to come fix it. You need to get home as soon as you can. And all I can think about is all these families, don't have water, or, the electricity went out or something like that. And it was all on me to make sure all of that stuff was fixed.
Right.
And so that was definitely a very stressful part of, so being able to have our own place now and being able to have somewhere where we can kind of be a family without having to worry and rely on, other family is incredibly liberating and incredibly, nice to have. And it's something that we haven't had in a long time and that we've definitely needed.
Good for you. Sounds like an amazing change. It's really great to hear from you. It's really great I love it when there's a return call like this, even if there's still some things going on that aren't easy. I'm wishing the best for you and your family. That's an intense situation to be in. You sound like you have a really level head on your shoulder. It sounds like you're very responsible. It sounds like you're a great dad to these kids. And so I'm wishing you guys the best. Can you don't tell us your kid's age or your stepkid's ages, but can you mind refreshing me on your age?
I just turned 25 in May.
25. Yeah. So, man, you are so mature for your age. I can't believe it. You could have told me you were 45, and I would have been like, it would have sounded right on target. You're very mature for your age. You're going through a lot. You've got a level head. It feels funny saying this because I don't know you, but I'm proud of you. I'm just so proud of you. Like, that's amazing. I feel like I know you because we talked for about an hour, I want to say, last time. But it really is truly great. Truly so great to hear from you. And I'm going to be thinking about this more over the next coming months. Would love to hear another update at some point when there's more developed.
Yeah, definitely. And, I know last time we spoke about my wife was kind of having medical issues and she's pregnant. We're about 9 weeks away from the baby coming.
Amazing.
And after moving, after getting a lot more, I guess, grounded and rooted, and after kind of jumping some of those hurdles with her ex, she hasn't really had any medical issues. The doctors have said, this may be a very difficult, birth for you, but they said that they think that her medical issues have kind of resolved, and for the most part, they think that everything should be fine, and the baby's actually growing pretty good, and they said the baby's actually a little bigger than it's supposed to be at this point, so they said that they think everything's going to go well, and all their worries were kind of put out the door.
Amazing to hear.
So,
that's great news. Well, I'm wishing you and your wife the best. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, we got a crib, and it's a brand new crib, and I think it's probably actually been the first brand new crib in either one of our families in generations, and it felt kind of lame being proud about that, but we felt very proud that we were able to kind of do a little better, than the past.
That's amazing. That's great. Savor those little things, those small things. Even if it's a crib, it's nothing to feel silly about. I mean, you said it yourself. It's the first new crib in your family and generation. So savor those little moments for what they're worth. You guys are going through a lot, so you got to stop and appreciate the small things. And then the big things, when you finally get them in court, are gonna feel so amazing. I'm just like I'm holding out so much hope that comes quicker than later. And I know you guys are too.
Definitely. And I'm really glad you remembered, because honestly, one of the things I was kind of like hesitant about calling was because I was like, man, that was like an hour and a half conversation, and I don't want to, I don't think he wants to be on for another extra hour for me to go back and do all the history and everything on it.
No, man, we leave this open for updates. I even remembered that you're bigger than your wife's ex-husband, and that he's scared of you.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It feels really like I feel like I don't know. I'm not usually the type to brag on myself, and I'm not usually the type to kind of like, oh, I'm a big dude, But I mean, it does feel nice to be able to say, like, yeah, I'm not even being, I'm not bragging on myself. I'm not being extra. I'm not assuming anything. He literally has said that he's intimidated by me. So I mean, it feels nice to be able to say that without feeling as though I'm just kind of bragging on myself.
No, I bet he regrets telling you that. I bet he wishes he hadn't told you that.
Yeah, at this point, I'm probably pretty sure he probably is. Oh, and one last little thing, just to kind of put the cherry on the top, is just as things ahead of the story, I have several friends that are part of the LGBTQ community. I've gone to several rallies. I have no issue with transgender or anything like that. But he decided that he was going to be transgender. Like I said, not a big deal. The big issue was he decided that he was going to change his name to my older daughter's well-known nickname.
So he is currently going by my older daughter's nickname as his new name.
Interesting.
And when I found that out, I was like, man, that is just one more level of messed up. I mean,
interesting. On purpose, using your daughter's nickname, because it's your daughter's.
Yeah. It was, so she, I want to say the nickname.
Yeah, don't say the name.
For anonymity, but basically, she's gone by this nickname since she was like a child, like little. Her name's somewhat long, and so people abbreviated it to a pretty short name. This had been around long before I had been in the picture. And he actually blocked us on all his social media and everything. But he left his profile public for a while, so we could have friends or family, check in just to kind of see, what he was doing, not to kind of be a creep, but for, the court stuff, we needed any sort of proof we could get that he was either A, unstable, or B, openly admitting to doing drugs and stuff. And we got a phone call from one of our friends, and they said, hey, have y'all, seen his Facebook recently? And we're like, no, we only check it, once every 2 or 3 weeks, whatever. He goes, I'm going to send you a couple screenshots. And the couple screenshots were him wearing a wig and a dress. And, I told my friend, okay, well, I'm like, that doesn't matter, like, whatever, that's his choice. And he said, well, no, look at the profile name. And I looked at the profile name, and he had changed his profile name to our older daughter's nickname that, like I said, had been around, much longer than I had been in the picture. So there's no way he didn't know that was her nickname, and had, posted a status about wanting to change his name to that. And so that, I feel like that is just one more level of kind of messed up, because on top of that, if he legally changes his name, then the court will, from what I understand, the court will talk to him by that new name. They won't use his old name. And if for some reason the girls need to be interviewed, they're going to have to use that name with the girls and explain to them, hey, he changed his name, this is his new name. And I feel like, my older daughter has already been struggling very heavily with her emotions towards her dad. And like I said, we haven't been able to tell them exactly what's going on. All we have been able to tell them is, what's going on is his choice. It's not ours. We're not forcing anything. This is all his choice. They're going to have to, kind of explain the whole situation. And I feel like my oldest is going to break her, knowing that not only did he do all those things, but he also decided to change his name to the name she goes by and the name she's been going by. And we've been kind of trying to slowly phase out that name. So we've been calling her by her full name or trying other nicknames just to kind of like pull her away from that name. So that way, if and when that does happen, it's a little bit easier on her, because she'll kind of be used to be going by other things.
Right.
But it's just one more level of, and I can almost guarantee the sole reason he changed his name to that is, to try to be one more level of getting back at us and trying to be that one more extra level of, hey guys, this is going to haunt her forever, so have fun dealing with that.
Right.
And because that's just the type of person he is. He just does stuff like that. And I'm really hoping for some legal reason he's not able to legally change his name. I'm hoping there's some sort of like weird law or rule or something that kind of prevents him from doing that. I'm highly doubtful of it. I haven't looked it up yet, because I'm like, I'd much prefer having the mystery of like, and the hope of like, oh, maybe there's something out there that'll prevent him from doing it, as opposed to knowing for sure, no, there's nothing that'll stop him. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So many layers to this. My goodness. Well, Well, you are getting closer to the finish line, it seems, each day. So I know it's been a few months since we talked, but these things naturally take time to develop. So I'm holding out hope that sooner than later you'll have everything you need on your side to get the protection you need to get back to homeostasis with your family, and that you'll be in a place sooner or later. You're going to be in a place where none of these things are issues, and you're going to have peace, and you'll have other problems. You'll have different problems, not nearly as daunting.
Yeah, me and my wife actually had a conversation. I told her, I was like, you know what? I was like, I hope one day our biggest issue is we ran out of toilet paper in the bathroom and someone has to run to the store
That's right.
to grab some.
That's right.
I actually daydream of just the mundane issues of just a regular life.
That's right. You will be there, my friend. You will be there. Looking forward to hearing a closing update on this story, because I know you are, and I'm not saying I'm tired of listening. I'm happy for any update we get, but I know that this has been a long time in the making. So, wishing you the best. Best of luck with the new child, with the upcoming birth. Sending best wishes to your wife, and looking forward to a good update from you again.
Definitely. I actually joked with my wife. We were talking about who we wanted to invite to the baby shower, and I was like, oh, you know what? See if there's some sort of P.O. box or something for Julian Smith.
You want me to come to the baby shower?
Yeah, we'll send you an invite.
I don't go to baby showers. I am the baby shower.
You can just
That was a joke.
stick it on your fridge, and on the back you can just put the big guy who complained about his wife's ex.
I do have a P.O. box you could send it to. I don't have the address in front of me. I don't have it memorized, and I don't have it published anywhere yet. I recently got it. But I would happily give you the P.O. box to send a baby shower invite. I'd love to see your family, and if you're okay with that, if you're okay with me knowing who you are. But yeah, maybe how can I get that to you? I'll put it in the YouTube comments in a day or two. If you come back to this replay, I'll put it in a comment. I think that's safe. I can do that. I'll put it in a comment on this video replay in a couple days.
I also accept carrier pigeons as well. So.
All right, great. Sounds good. That's very reliable. More so reliable than the USPS these days. So many jokes on this call. What is going on? All right, so thanks so much for calling and sharing this update. And like I said, if you want to send me a baby shower invite, I will happily pick one up. You can send it to me so you can check the replay later, and I'll put it in the comments for you.
Definitely. I'll actually go looking for that here in the next couple days.
Sounds good. All right, wishing you the best, my friend. Take care.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good night. Watch me show up at that baby shower. Wouldn't that be hilarious? All right, here we go. We're jumping right back in to the next call. Here we go. Hi, thanks for calling. Hello?
Hello?
Hi there. Thanks for calling.
Oh, hi. Hi, Julian.
I think you've got speakers on. Can you turn your speakers off? I'm getting some feedback.
So sorry. Hold on. Is that better?
Hopefully. Can we start with your age?
My age?
Yes.
I'm 20.
All right. I'm still getting some feedback. Do you still have speakers on?
I don't. I think it might just be my reception.
Okay, no problem. It's faint now.
Issue.
I can deal with it. It's okay. It was way louder before. It sounds okay.
Okay.
So, what brings you to? No problem.
So, you know, I actually didn't know that you did the anonymous calling, and it actually intrigued me because, you know, I was looking at, you know, the mental health thing in the description, and, you know, just, I very much support, you know, improving one's mental health, and you know, I've gone through some
pretty tough times in my life. I grew up with an alcoholic father, and it's funny because I actually just moved back in with my parents because, cost of living is, insane.
Right.
And I've been trying to, because he's sober now for about 8 years of my life, ever since I was about 11, 12. I always knew him as like the dad who was, always like super wasted all the time, and borderline, abusive, right? And he kind of goes in and out of sobriety. He was sober for about a year, and then fell off the wagon, I guess, and I guess I'm trying to. I feel like I'll regret it later in my life if I don't build like some sort of relationship with him.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know him as a person, but I have like this guilt that like if I do what my sister did, and just like move away and never speak to him again, I'll like, I don't know, like if he dies or something, I'll regret it for the rest of my life or something. I don't know. I'm kind of like in this confused state because I see him every day. It's just bizarre still, and I'm still trying to build a relationship with him, and I don't know. It's like taking a toll on me almost.
Right. How long has your sister been estranged?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily consider her estranged, but she's been moved out of the house, I guess, for ever since she was. But she would kind of come in and out, but like 20-ish. So she's 24 now, I think.
Don't tell us where she lives or anything, or no names, obviously.
Right. I'm just an age.
My bad. I sounded like she moved. You said she moved away and never talked to him again. I thought you said that. So
I did. She like kind of avoids him.
Okay.
And like doesn't talk to him, but like we'll talk to the rest of the family, But
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you are dealing with this thought at a really young age. A lot of people don't have those thoughts, in my experience anyway, until later into their 20s. So the fact that you are there says a lot, in my opinion, that it raises a question about like how much of your dad you can know, or how much of himself he's showing you. You said you see him every day, and you don't have a relationship with him. I wonder why you think that is. Is that really your fault? Is it a two-way street, or is it a one-way street fault on his, or is it a one-way street fault on yours?
I guess a bit of both. But,
okay.
The rest of my siblings don't necessarily like. Or I don't know. Maybe I'm just speculating, but they seem like they're just not trying. They're trying not to like reach out or something. But I feel like I'm the only one. Maybe I'm just a selfish prick, but it seems like I'm the only one trying to reach out. I'm not trying to boost my ego or anything, but that's just the way I feel. I don't know if that's like a selfish thought, but yeah, I have like this. It's just a weird guilt. I don't know why I feel this way. I really don't. Like,
for like an abusive alcoholic father, I shouldn't feel guilty for him, you know.
How's your relationship with your mom?
It's good. It's good. I think. Us kids are definitely, you know, closer to our mom, because, you know, she raised us essentially like a single parent.
Ah.
But they're not divorced, but it's just...
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is your mom an enabler?
No, but also their dynamic is just very bizarre. And that's another thing I never understood.
Does she enable his alcoholism?
No, you know, we've my mom has put him through rehab, but, you know,
okay.
I wouldn't necessarily call her an enabler, but at the same time, I wouldn't, you know, go as far as to say, like, she's done everything in her power to stop him, I guess, but you know, I don't fault her for anything that he's done, obviously, because, you know, he's in the wrong, or he was when he was, you know, drunk.
What are the biggest imbalances in their relationship?
My mom kind of, you know, is not very independent, I guess. She's very, very much like a dependent, like, person who relies on him for almost everything. And I don't know. I'm just they just have a very bizarre relationship, and it's, you know, and there's been so many times where I told my mom, like, you have it out, like, you can divorce him, and she just never did, and it's never even crossed her mind, no matter how, like, bad the abuse got, you know, and
right.
And
so,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
You know, my dad asked me a question recently that, you know, it's been weighing on me a lot, because I have siblings. Both of them are older than me, but I have one younger sibling who is under the age of 18, so is considered a dependent under their household. He asked me, he said, what can I do to make things better? Because in his, I guess, rehab course, he said that, you know, there's, it's the time for I guess, like, making up to each person of the family, or repenting, I guess, like, in a sort. And he asked me this not too long ago, like a month ago, and I don't have an answer for him, because I don't know anything that he could do that would make me feel any better. But I did think about, you know, how he treats my mom and my younger sibling, and I'm like, I haven't actually given him an answer yet, but I think the only way to truly make up for what he's done, but it wouldn't affect me personally, right? It would, I think, in the long run, what would make me feel better, I guess, is to see him improve on the family that, you know, is still under his care, right?
because I mean, I have a job and I'm still, I mean, I moved in, but like, you know, I'm dependent in sorts, except housing because it's stupid expensive to live here. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of, yeah, I'm kind of lost for what I don't know what he would do. I just don't know.
Yeah. It's tricky living with a parent like that, especially at your age. I can feel the confusion in your voice. There's a book I'm thinking of. We mentioned it earlier in the stream. Makes me wonder, like, anytime somebody says that they're being abused by someone, especially a parent, or I was asking about your mom and her relationship with your dad, and you described her as a bit of a dependent type. And these kinds of things are things that Dr. Ramani Durvasula would say are red flags for dealing with some kind of psychopath. There's a book we talked about earlier called Should I Stay or Should I Go? Were you here for that part of the stream?
No, I only joined about like right as you were ending the call with the previous fellow.
No problem. I'm going to put this book in the chat for you. This is a book on how to... Now, this is a book, it's kind of marketed towards people who might be dating a psychopath, but it's been helpful for me dealing with co-workers who might be, family members who might be, so it's not exclusively for dating someone, but it's a helpful book full of tips on should I stay or should I go, and this is a very popular book. Dr. Ramani Durvasula is probably the world's leading expert on narcissistic personality disorder. Of course, I want to acknowledge that since you're living at home, a title like that might sound really intimidating in your situation, but at least it could help you decide what kind of relationship is possible with your dad. In other words, maybe if you were to determine somehow that your dad was some kind of psychopath, maybe some specific kind of relationship style like medium chill might be the healthiest option, where you just don't go deep on things. You just keep things surface level and emotionally stable, nothing too questionable, nothing too controversial. Just keep it all positive, focused on things you have in common. Medium chill is something you can Google to learn more about it. It's usually contrasted to going no contact completely. So in other words, if somebody's trying to decide if they should go no contact with someone, a good runner-up to that is usually just going medium chill. So you can still keep the person in your life, but keep things kind of at bay so that they don't ever get to the place where the person can abuse you or betray you. So that book is in the chat for you. I put a Goodreads link. And there's a second book that I think might be good. If you get to the end of that one and want more, there's a second book that I would suggest as a follow-up. It's called Psychopath Free. And it goes into more detail on the differences between all the different psychopathies. These are both excellent books. Dr. Ramani also has a YouTube channel, which I'll plug here, with a bunch of free videos on dealing with narcissists and spotting red flags and how to do certain things. She's got over 1 million subscribers, and she's a psychologist, so it's pretty impressive. She's amazing. I would marry her, but I'm pretty sure she doesn't go for younger guys. That's a joke. So I don't know what that sounds like to you, but I'm thinking of those two books because these are books that will not just teach you how to deal with a narcissist. These are books that will teach you if you might be dealing with, like, how to recognize if you are. Because this is a famous joke in psychology amongst psychologists. They have this great joke. They say, it's 2022. We've discovered all the secrets of narcissistic personality disorder. We understand it better than ever. And we understand it so well that now we finally discovered narcissism actually doesn't exist because no one will come get tested.
Right.
So
it's a get tested.
Well, it's the classic joke. Like the vast majority of people who go get tested for narcissistic personality disorder are not narcissists because they want to be tested. Like a narcissist knows that they are one, and so they avoid being tested at all costs. Usually, there are exceptions. There are some people who can. I'm not an expert on this subject, I should say, but from what I understand, some people can heal from things like narcissism, but it's a very, very small percentage. It's a very, very small chance that recovery is possible. A lot of people have to deal with this stuff from what the current psychologists say that I've read. A lot of people just deal with this forever, which is why a book like Should I Stay or Should I Go is so timely, because if somebody can't change, then you sticking around is just setting yourself up for more disaster. Am I on speakerphone by chance?
No.
No, I'm still hearing myself quite a bit.
I'm sorry. I
it's not a problem.
Just where I'm at. We can wrap this up if you would like.
No, there's no need for that. I just wanted to check in. The chat was mentioning it, and I'm hearing it, so it's not a problem. But what does that make you think about when I talk about questioning whether you're dealing with someone who can get better?
See, that's the question I've had for a long time, right? I've always wondered, I've never, what is better for an alcoholic, right? Because, I've read the Alcoholics, Anonymous book, and, it's considered a disease, a disorder, something that is not curable, but is manageable, right? That's what they said in the book. And I've always wondered, because he'll go a year in, year out, right? Or it's gotten to the point of possibly endangering people on the road. Because I grew up with him drinking and driving 90 on the highway, right?
Goodness.
That's just that became normal, like a normalcy for me, going to school or whatever. Or him coming into the school stupid drunk. Or I even went to a outdoor thing, class, when I was in 6th grade, and he came for 3 days and was just completely wasted. No one necessarily noticed because he's a functioning alcoholic, so he's able to hold a conversation and stuff, but to me, he's just very clear. I can tell, when he is drinking and when he's not, right? Because when he is drinking, he is, his personality is a 180. And when he's sober, he's a halfway decent person. And, when he's sober, I wouldn't consider him a bad person. I would consider him a white knight,
Mm-hmm.
And him just asking me that question of what can I do to repent for what I've done to you? And the only response in my head I can think of is take care of the remaining family that you have under your care. I want to see them thrive. There's nothing that you can do for me at this point in my life. I'm kind of on my own of sorts.
That's a great answer.
Is it? That's kind of what I've been going through my head. I'm not sure, I actually have never asked anyone's opinion, and this is actually probably a good place to ask. because I'm not the type of person to go for help. I don't like therapy, and I know it's very useful for some people, and maybe I just haven't found the right counselor or therapist, but
that's right.
Maybe I'm not putting in enough time or something like that. But yeah, I guess is that a good answer for because that's the only thing I can think of at this point.
I mean, I'm not in your situation, so I don't know how dense it is. I don't know how many problems there are, but it sounds like a substantial answer.
Right.
Is there anything else that you'd add to that answer? Anything else missing?
Obviously, like a part of that would be, to stay sober and stuff, but I guess, stay sober and care for those who are in your care to the best of their ability, while being sober at the same time.
I think it's a great answer.
Right.
I would say maybe write it down for him. Give him the answer in written form so he can't forget it, especially if he's drinking a lot. So he has something, your exact words, the way you put it, in his pocket and keep it wherever he keeps it, so that if he's drunk one night and is thinking, oh boy, like what promise did I make my son? I can't remember. Then he's just pull it out and read it. And it's better than an email because it's physical, tangible. Give him something tangible. He said, Dad, here's my answer. You asked me a question. I've taken some time. I've written it down for you, so it's very short and clear. And here's my answer. This is how we have a relationship. Here it is. And give it to him. You don't even have to be there when he reads it.
That's actually a really good idea. I didn't think about that. Yeah, no, it's a really good idea. Yeah.
And I want to touch on something you said earlier, because I don't want you to make this a short phone call with my unqualified ass, because that's what I am. You really, I really cannot stress enough to you, my friend, how much therapy can help you through things like this. A short phone call with me is not going to fix anything. This is a great place to air some thoughts that are, like you said, like hard to difficult to share in certain situations. We even have people share things here they don't feel comfortable sharing in therapy, because if you say certain things in therapy, they have to send you to a psych ward for your own safety. I can't do that. I don't know where you are. I don't know what your name is.
Right.
There's certain things people have. So I'm not discrediting the fact that you felt. I'm not discouraging people from calling and sharing here the way that you are, because that's what we're here to do. But I want to encourage you to consider therapy. It takes I want you to know there are many more bad therapists than there are good ones. I don't know why that is, but it's true. And I have gone through as many as 8 therapists before in a row in order to find one that I liked. That was the longest stretch that I went through trying to find a good one. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting. But when you're going through something like this, no time is too much. No, it's hard to put a price tag on what it's worth, because these are things that can be very difficult to get through, very difficult to see through, especially parental stuff. This is like the main reason therapists exist, because we don't know what our parents are like. Because they're the only parents we've ever had. If we could all have all the parents in the world, then we might have some much clearer picture of what it is our parents actually are. But a good therapist can help you through things like this, specifically like this. I'm going to put a tool for you in the chat that has helped me in multiple states over the last 12 years, maybe 10 years, maybe not quite 12. Let's see here. Psychology Today. You familiar with that website?
I'm not, no.
They have an amazing tool on the homepage called Find a Therapist, and you can search by zip code, and you can filter through certain qualifications. I actually have started posting this link in all anonymous live stream video descriptions because I'm trying to encourage more people like yourself who might be reluctant to pursue therapy because they've had bad experiences or whatever, to reconsider, and to really, really think about finding a therapist. This is an awesome tool, and I'll give you a little trick that'll save you some time, since it sounds like you've been reluctant. When I'm looking for a new therapist, I will use this very tool that I just sent you in the chat, and I'll find 5 therapists that look like someone I might want to talk to based on how they describe themselves in their biography and the qualifications they have. And then I'll write down all their phone numbers. And most of these therapists will give you 15 to 20 minutes free on the phone as a consultation. And so I'll set up 3 different phone calls with my favorite top 3, and I'll call and tell them what I'm going through, and then I'll ask them what tools or modalities are you equipped with to help me through this challenge, and let them pitch themselves to me for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll book a session with my favorite one based on that phone call. And usually that narrows it down pretty quickly to someone. Within a few sessions, we're talking about really good stuff. It's not foolproof. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you have to go down, you have to cross off your number 1 and go down to number 2, pick back up with number 2 or number 3 or number 4. But that's kind of how I think about that, finding a therapist. It can be really discouraging telling everybody your deepest, darkest stuff, and then getting like 5 weeks in and realizing I don't like this person, or this person and I don't jive. So that's a way I've found to get around that without exhausting yourself or spending too much time. I hope that's helpful.
Right. No, that sounds extremely helpful. I actually very much appreciate that, because I've actually been, because like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I always get maybe I shouldn't say this on this live stream, but there's
no names, no locations.
Right. It's just an ad on a podcast about therapy. Anyway, and so I've just been thinking about it, because I have a lot of trouble, I guess, sharing empathy or sympathy for people, because I've grown up kind of having to. I kind of grew up needing to grow up myself, needing to mature myself. I didn't grow up with someone to show me, how to do that, or like giving me an example of how to do that. And so at the age of 11, 12, people said that, they noticed that, I had the mind of a 25-year-old, or like a more mature person at the age of 12, and I kind of didn't really necessarily have a fun childhood, and so I kind of had to mature my own way, and doing so, I kind of just shut down all emotion, and more so kind of just treaded forward, in a way, because when my father came home like super drunk and would verbally just berate us, there's like a part of my brain that I had to just shut off, so that way his words won't affect me at all, and I've kind of kept that same mentality for a long time, even to this day, because for the people who treat me the worst, I can almost deal with them better than people who treat me good, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but I do have severe trouble with that, because I had a friend of mine tell me that, because we were just talking, and because I do a lot of favors for people, I guess. I recently built him a desk that he wanted, and he's like, you help people practically, but you can't help them like sympathize, or like you can't help them with words.
And he's right, because I can't, and I've never been able to, because I've never been able to truly connect to someone on an emotional level ever in my life. It feels at this point in my life that I'm almost incapable of doing so. All emotion, I just kind of just drains from me. I go essentially numb. Like if something super bad happens, I just kind of take a deep breath and zone it out almost.
Well, it sounds like you want to have more emotional depth with people. Is that right? You'd like to?
I mean, that's why I was thinking about therapy and
right.
But I'm almost like there's like kind of a fear of going back, because when I was a kid, I was forced into it. When my father got super bad, I was forced into it, and I've been diagnosed with ADD and also severe depression, I guess. So pretty much every other person. And they when I was a kid, they pumped me full of Adderall and Wellbutrin, and it almost did kind of like help me numb my emotions. And that's why I kind of grew up going to school like in middle school, because this mostly happened like during that time. Me just being a really awful person, because I didn't know how to interact with people, because I didn't have a social. I had extreme social anxiety, and I kind of unleashed it in a way of just being like a kind of a bad person. But I was pumped full of medication and forced to go to therapy when I didn't even really understand why I had to go to therapy. And
right.
And so, I guess because I had some seriously bad experiences. I wasn't necessarily a therapist. She was just a counselor, but I found out later that the counselor did not, I guess, told my mom everything that I told her when I opened up one day, and then I just shut down again. And I promised myself I would never tell another soul what I told her, right? And because I didn't want my mom knowing at all, and that was the whole point of a counselor. So,
right. Well, you didn't have. Sorry, go ahead.
I just have some bad experiences and borderline, I guess, a fear of going back, because I have like a fear of actually opening up to someone, because I do just go numb 90% of the time. The other 10%, just me being angry, like mostly at myself. But
well, you've done very well here.
Yeah, that's true. That's because no one knows me, and
right.
that does help a substantial amount. I honestly came on here to just talk about my father, and that's it, and then maybe get a little bit of advice and then hop off. But yeah.
Well, you didn't. If I want to say a couple things about what you just said before we start winding down, because I can tell you're really reluctant to open back up in therapy, and it's understandable. You were forced to go as a kid. It didn't really create fond memories for you. It doesn't sound like. I mean, when you're forced to do something, what's different this time is you have an intent, and your intent is to improve on something you identified. You didn't even have to go to therapy to identify the problem, which is half the battle. A lot of people go to therapy to figure out what the problem is, and then they spend the other half of their therapy time fixing the problem. And sometimes that takes a couple years, if not longer, because they didn't start by knowing the problem, but you know what you want to target. You have an intent for this therapy this time. No one's forcing you to go. And you know the problem. You can walk into that office and say, look, I know why I'm here. I want to connect emotionally with people better. I think I know why I can't do it. I think my body got trained to go numb when I was a kid because I had an abusive dad who was an alcoholic, and you just tell the therapist exactly. You just replay this. You could just replay this phone call with us in therapy, and like you've done half the work of already of identifying the problem. And a couple things from the chat. Metal Martin says to you, you can do what you want, and you do want to. You told us anyway that you want to have deeper emotional connections with people. And you said you wanted that when I asked you. So I believe that you will work through this. It'll probably take a lot of time. Offcore, one of our mods says to you, this time in therapy will be different. You've built the walls up to survive. Now you can start removing brick by brick. And I believe that. I think that's right.
Yeah, I'm actually reading the comments right now.
And also, I sent you 2 books on dealing with somebody who might be a narcissist. I just want to say on that point that since you brought up sensing a lack of emotional depth on your part, that you're going to come across some stuff in those books that talk about a trait of narcissism, which is just that. But that's why I asked you, do you want deeper emotional connection with people? Because a narcissist doesn't even know that they want that. That part of their brain is so dysfunctional that they don't have emotional depth with people. They don't have empathy for people because they don't want it. They don't know why they would ever want it. It's different from like your case. I'm saying this to you as an encouragement because I don't want you to read that part of the book and get freaked out. You already answered that question for yourself when you said you want that. In your case, you simply didn't have that modeled to you. Nobody showed you what it looked like to care for someone or to be empathetic or whatever it is. So I think it's really huge that you said you want to. And I believe you. I can hear it in your voice. I don't think you would have just faked us out like that. It didn't feel that way. So I'm really glad to hear you're open to therapy. I hope that Psychology Today tool helps you find a good therapist. And I'm really hoping for a good update from you. I believe we'll get one. I'm thinking we will.
If I see this come up again in later future, I'll call in and see how I'm doing. I definitely want to check out those books as well as the Psychology Today. That seems like a very helpful tool because that's what I've been hung up on is finding somewhere, because I don't necessarily want to do therapy in the town I live in, because like it's small town, everyone knows everyone,
right?
And that's just kind of, that messes with my head a little bit.
Makes sense.
I don't know why it messes. It just, I don't know. I feel like all my secrets will be scattered to the wind. I'll definitely check those out. I appreciate it, Julian. I want you to get to other callers because this has been actually really helpful and inspiring.
I'm glad to hear it. You mentioned if you see these next time, you'll give us an update. We do these every week, so if you ever
every week.
Yeah, every Tuesday and Thursday. So if you have an update, in any given week, lines will be open to you. We'd love to hear an update. But if you call me next week with an update, I'm not going to believe you.
Right.
This is going to take time.
Right.
So,
well, I would like to say thank you to the chat and all the. I'm reading it right now, and you guys are very kind as well. So, yeah.
You're awesome, man. Keep that good head on your shoulders up straight, and best of luck in therapy. I hope that those books are valuable for you, and like I said, call again anytime. Best wishes.
Hey, thank you, Julian. Thank you, chat.
Thank you. Good
all
night,
right.
thanks.
Have a good one.
You too. Wow. It never ceases to amaze me after every stream. There's just always so many amazing stories, so many incredibly inspiring people out there. Thank you guys, everyone who called in. Thank you to the chat. You guys are amazing. We are going to wind down the stream here. There's only a few minutes left in this hour, so we are not going to take any more calls tonight. That would be unfair to let someone share for 2.5 minutes. So we have to end it somewhere. We'll be back here on Thursday. We do these streams 2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. It's always a very wholesome time. And these streams are the highlight of my week. So thank you guys so much. Huge shout out to our mods. Tonight we had Deanna Krebs and Offcore. Some OGs up in here. You guys are awesome. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you here Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Thanks for being here, and take care.